third TRAC committee meeting. We're holding this meeting virtually in light of it will not be a voting meeting. As soon as we get together in person and able to vote and approve all of our minutes from the last few meetings. PSTA has developed several methods for ensuring the ability of the public to comment during virtual meetings. It has established these three options. First, during the meeting, the public can provide comments via telephone by calling 415-655-0002. The meeting ID is 160-233-0019 as on the screen. Individuals will be able to speak for 3 minutes. Again, to make the public comment today, during the meeting, make a call 1-415-655-0002, and the meeting ID is 160-233-0019. Second option is to have mail. You should have done it already, but for next month's meeting, you can send something in the mail. The third option is to use email, either already to have sent one before our meeting, or to do it during you send an email, as it says there, to publiccomment@psta.net. Any emails? If they are 400 words or less, we'll read them aloud during the meeting at the appropriate time. If they exceed 400 words, they'll be distributed to members for consideration. Remember, any documents submitted are included as part of the public record for the meeting and will be considered prior to us taking any action. When addressing the committee, you must first state your name and address. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. For the record, let's go ahead and make sure that everybody can speak and be heard. So if you'll all unmute.
Yes, sir.
So, let's run down the list. Roman, are you here?
Yes, I'm here, Roman.
Hey, we hear you. Yes, Roman, welcome. Where's Deborah?
Hi.
Deborah, I'll come back to you. I do not hear you. Does anyone? There you are. Welcome. James, yeah, you've been chatting. Welcome.
It's like we lost Duncan for a moment.
Yeah.
We back?
Now you're back. But you're muted, Duncan.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he's muted. I think he's working on his equipment there. Where's Mary Ann? Does she have, or Bob? Does
We
Bob
are.
have it?
Sorry about that. We were at, Gloria, you're going to need to help me with this part. It's dropping right now.
Okay, well, I don't have I mean, I have the agenda, but I don't have the.
But it sounds like my phone is working. So let me do the.
Yeah, do phone.
Let me do the. So Gloria, you're here?
I'm here.
Mark O'Hara, where are you? Gloria, you're here?
I'm here.
Mary Young?
Here.
Mark
Here.
Beatty?
I'm here.
Teresa? And Sebastian, we were talking?
Yes, I'm here.
Edwin? Edwin doesn't seem here. Michael Davenport?
Here.
Oh, great. And Kimberly.
Here.
Great, great. And are there any members of the public on the phone to speak?
I'm here.
I'm here.
It would be great if you're not speaking to put yourself on mute. We're getting some feedback. So, Mark, Marianne, Mary, please.
Yeah, this is not going well.
Duncan,
Yeah,
I'm gonna mute your computer right now.
right. Please. And again, let me ask Gloria to lead for me.
Okay, you're muted.
I'm sorry, did Duncan just ask?
Yes, Gloria, I emailed you the script.
Oh, okay, let me look on my email now.
So while Gloria catches up, the next item on the agenda for the meeting is public comment. So I might as well just call the public comment to keep us moving along. Clarissa, can you tell us if there's been any public comment prior to the meeting or if there's any public comment at this time?
We've not received any public comments.
Thank you.
And the next is the chair's report. Because Duncan.
I'm actually here by the telephone. Let me go ahead and give this to you.
Okay.
I attended the last meeting, and it was my honor to finally catch up and give our presentation to the board through Zoom. So that was great. I hope to continue doing that in coming months. That's part of the chair's role, is to bring the board's presentation to you guys and also to take ours to them. Their meeting was pretty straightforward. They had the Driver of the Year Award, also a presentation on Black History Month. The great part was the presentation on the AVA autonomous vehicle that's running along the waterfront in St. Pete. We all know about that. Also, the paratransit contracts, which we've seen several presentations on, were presented. We saw the presentation on the Clearwater Multimodal Center, the new hub in Clearwater, and the progress that's being made there. And then finally, Brad's evaluation was discussed and approved by the board. So that was the meeting last month by the board, along with the chair's report from TRAC. If there's any questions, then let me turn it over to Gloria to talk about the CAC, the Citizens Advisory.
Right. Thank you, Duncan. Well, I looked through my notes. We talk about this every time, but our CAC meetings actually happen, like in this case, they're happening, the next one is on Thursday. So it's happening in the same week. So what I'm reporting on happened over a month ago as well. And we had a very full meeting. It is kind of a combination right now, a hybrid meeting where there are some people that are in person and some that are on Zoom. But we had a very full agenda, and two of the really interesting things from my standpoint is we did have the report on the Safe Streets Pinellas Action Plan. And you've seen pieces of this where we've talked about Vision Zero and so forth. And it was really interesting because in addition to a discussion, some of the people weren't as committed to Vision Zero as I think we all are as transit riders. But I think what was very interesting, they reported, and I'm going to read what it says here, is that the adoption of the Safe Streets Pinellas Action Plan provides a foundation for local governments to identify roadways that present a safety problem and adopt countermeasures to improve the safety of that roadway. And it was just a continued reminder that as we ride buses, as we are on sidewalks, when we see things that are particularly dangerous, it's very good idea for us to either let someone here within PSTA know about it, and since both Duncan and I are on the CAC, we can pass that information on to Forward Pinellas as well, and that's how they know what things need to be focused on. So I thought that was very good. And then they talked about some work that's been done in Clearwater on the Fort Harrison. It's the Fort Complete Streets program, where they're really trying to design streets to work for all the audiences, to work for people on transit, to work for people who are pedestrians, for people who are shopping, for people who live there, and so on. And so it's always just very enlightening to see what kinds of good things are going on and from a planning standpoint. And I think that was it, unless Duncan can think of anything from that meeting that I missed.
No, that's it. I'd like to add that they're doing a hybrid where they have enough people show up to make a quorum so that they can vote on minutes and other issues, where the rest appear like we're doing it now through Zoom. And so that may be our next step to get enough people to come in person. So I like the mechanics of that in the current COVID world as we're getting vaccines. That was a good summary. Thanks, Gloria. If there's no questions, then let's move on to the agenda. The first item of the agenda is a presentation about the autonomous vehicle, the AVA project down on St. Pete. Jacob, are you here?
Yes, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely. For the record, although you don't see me, I can see both the presentation and I'm talking on my telephone. I just don't have a camera, so I hope you guys can do without my smiling face, but I can hear and see everything going on. So thanks everyone for your patience. I'm having a horrible tech day, and I'll check out. Thanks. Go ahead, Jacob.
I'll take it from here. Thank you, and I will try to smile enough for the both of us. So my name is Jacob Labutka. I'm a project planner here at PSTA, and I'm also the project manager for our AVA demonstration program. I just wanted to give you all an update on how the AVA service is going as it's coming to a close here in St. Pete, and discuss where it's going next. So as you've all seen from a variety of presentations that we've given you, we've done a lot in the world of transportation technology. So we've invested in connected vehicle technologies, such as our real-time information systems. We've invested in all-electric vehicles, with now having 6 all-electric buses with 2 more on order. Oh, can you press enter, Julie? Oh, thank you. And then we've also invested in shared mobility technologies with partners like Uber and United Taxi, with programs like Direct Connect. And now we are able to say that we've also deployed autonomous vehicle technology with the launch of AVA. Next slide, please. So ever since the end of November, AVA has been the latest temporary resident of downtown St. Petersburg, serving residents and tourists up and down Bayshore Drive. So she's been operating since about the last week of November. So to give you a couple of fun facts, so as of the middle of this month, around the 14th, the service has provided over 4,300 rides, which over the span of the service has accounted for about 63 people a day. So this is actually the highest ridership route among all of the deployments operated by our service provider, Beat. So they also operate similar length routes of about a mile in places like Tampa, Orlando, Port St. Lucie, and Peoria, Arizona, outside of Phoenix. And this is the highest ridership route among all of their deployments. And that is with even having to enforce social distancing measures on board due to the pandemic. While in normal times, we would carry up to 10 people at a time, we're now carrying about 4 to 6 riders at a time. We still had an incredible success with people coming to check out the service. Next slide, please. As the map on this slide shows, the AVA service in St. Pete goes up and down Bay Shore between the Vinoy and the Dali, utilizing 4 existing bus stops along the corridor. So it takes 2 shuttles to operate the service, and there is an attendant on board at all times. Originally, this service was supposed to end on February 15th because normally they have to set up for the Grand Prix in early March. However, the Grand Prix was pushed to April, so we actually worked with our friends at the city, and we've done a 50-50 funding partnership to extend the service out through the end of this month. So AVA is still out on the streets of St. Pete through the 28th, which is this next Sunday. So I would encourage you all, if you have the opportunity to go out anytime between Wednesday and Sunday to go check out the service and take the online survey to provide us with your detailed feedback. Next slide, please. About 2 months after we deployed the service on January 25th, we hosted what we called an AVA Day. So this was a day that was completely dedicated to demonstrating how the shuttle is able to accommodate those riders using assistive mobility devices. So we invited people from the local ADA and disability community and advocates to come out and to experience the AVA vehicle for themselves. Here you can see our very own Gloria utilizing her assistive mobility device to board AVA. Gloria, thank you so much for coming out that day. It was great to have you out there, and you helped make the day a wonderful success. I would encourage you all to go on our YouTube page, and there's a great video that's like a 3-minute video recapping the AVA Day where you can see Gloria discussing her experience on the shuttle, and then you can see me at the end of the video very excitedly discussing the service. I may wave my hands like a Muppet at one point, so you can look forward to that. Next slide, please. And so as we finish the AVA demonstration in St. Petersburg, we've been taking steps to expand the program to North County, particularly in Clearwater and Dunedin. So we've done a couple of things to do that. So last month, PSTA and TBARDA approved a memoranda of understanding that will allow us to use federal funds managed by TBARDA to expand the AVA program to Clearwater and Dunedin. So big shout out to TBARDA. They've been great partners to work with to help bring AVA to North County. This month, we are out to bid to select a vendor to operate these demonstrations in Clearwater and Dunedin, and the vendor will be selected at our meeting next month in April at the board meeting. And in addition, we'll also be approving an interlocal agreement with the city of Dunedin to approve the demonstration in the city, since we would be looking to start in Dunedin as early as May or June, and then go to Clearwater later this summer, early fall. As shown here on the map, on the screen, I've shown just what the routing proposals are in each of those locations. So in Clearwater, we would be looking to operate out on Clearwater Beach along Gulfview. Right now, the preferred option as shown here is in the South Beach area. And in Dunedin, we'd be looking to operate in that more downtown Dunedin area, connecting Douglas Avenue and Main Street, down Douglas Avenue, where the Route 78 currently operates, ending about close to the Dunedin Stadium where the Blue Jays play. So stay tuned, because you'll be hearing a lot more about this in the coming months. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and pass it back to the chair, and I'd be happy to take any questions you have about the AVA program.
Yes, well, that's great information. We've been seeing it come along, having the extra time inadvertently due to the Grand Prix. That's all good information. If I can add, Gloria, I just listened to your podcast about your day doing the test ride, and again, that's all great information. Does anyone have any questions for Jason? You'll have to unmute yourself. I can't see him.
I have a question. Mark Boyd. I have a
Please,
question.
go ahead.
This is Mark Boyd. I have been looking forward to, taking a test drive on AVA myself, but and this it might represent a certain segment of the population, the ridership. I was just curious. These programs are rather expensive, these pilot programs, I would assume. I was just wondering approximately how much it costs the SDA to have this program operating in St. Pete currently. like weekly or monthly or whatever?
Oh, sure. So the the initial contract was, I'm trying to think. I think the total value of the program was approximately $200,000. That included the initial paperwork that we had to send to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to approve the route, and it also included 3 months of operations out on the ground. So PSTA contributed about $100,000 towards the program, and the other half was received through a commuter assistance program grant through the Florida Department of Transportation.
Okay, thank you for that. And then I had a second question about it. There's always a, I don't know what you would refer to the person, but there's always an, I don't know, like, I guess you wouldn't call it an operator, but there's a, what would you call it? A safety person?
I think we've been referring to co-pilot.
What was that?
Oh, we've been referring to them as co-pilot.
Co-pilot, okay. And essentially the co-pilot is more or less just monitoring in case something were to go awry, somebody fell in the doorway or the AVA started acting inappropriately or whatever, correct? And then they hit a stop button or something?
Yes, that is the case. So it's actually pretty interesting. So at all times, the co-pilot actually holds an Xbox controller. So if the co-pilot for some reason needs to go into manual mode, it's actually able to navigate that with the Xbox controller. Most of the time it is in autonomous mode, but there are some times that it does have to go into manual mode, particularly when it is leaving or going back into the shuttle storage space at the Mahaffey. And I've ridden the service a few times, and the co-pilot is also great because usually when people ride, they have a lot of questions just about the service and the technology, and it's really great having the co-pilot on board as well because they're able to answer any questions that our riders have about the technology.
Gotcha. So at some point, the objective is to eliminate the co-pilot and just everything would go by itself, correct?
I think that is perhaps a long-term goal, and I think that's a conversation that we as an industry are having. I think the future steps, even before we get to that, would be what this technology would look like perhaps on a fixed route bus. And I think even if we were to do this on a fixed route bus, say 5 to 10 years down the road, I think we would still have a person on board when we would deploy that first a bit of that technology. So I think perhaps that is a long-term goal, but there's not exactly a timeline that we'd be looking to do that. We're just trying to dip our toes in the water and to figure this technology out as we advance its capabilities.
Gotcha. I have one last question and I'll move on. I'm so sorry. So why would this be smarter, forward-looking, to invest money in rather than something like a monorail like they have at Tampa International that is already proven and doesn't take, it's automatic. I'm sure there's a monitor somewhere, but why would we be spending money on something that's not going to be sort of functional in the ultimate sense for 5 years? Why are we spending money in the experimental phase? Why wouldn't we put it into something that is autonomous?
Yeah, well, I think we've just been, I think a lot has been happening with autonomous vehicle technology, and this have been so much more than even 5 years ago. So I think we've been making a small investment into this program just to figure out kind of what is the viability of the service and how does the technology work. Because I think that we've been having conversations with bus manufacturers who may be looking to incorporate this technology into fixed route buses, and so we as PSTA would be looking to deploy this into maybe a smaller vehicle like we are now, and just to look forward to prepare for a future where there are those, more fixed route buses, just so that's not the first time that we're deploying autonomous technology on our bus routes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mark, I would recommend you listening to Gloria's podcast. She interviewed someone from Beebe and made some really great points that they consider the co-pilot like an elevator operator. When elevators were first introduced, it took a while for people to get used to it. They give great comfort to new users. It is there in case of an emergency. The person is a liaison back to the company. What kind of problems does the vehicle have? But yeah, they're going to be phased out eventually, just like elevators now are totally independently operated. And then furthermore, the skill set for a co-pilot is so much different than a driver. They're really ambassadors selling the city, or hey, did you know the Dolly is open late tonight? I mean, they become more like a concierge, or I don't know, a bellhop, customer centric. Very little, where if you think of a driver fighting traffic, worrying about getting on time, did they make their time point? It's a whole different skill set of, much less technical driving skills. So it's really the way to go. And right now we know China and them are indeed implementing is it Taiwan, have got full-blown autonomous vehicles. They're coming. People talked about autonomous individual cars, but those cars are way too expensive for anybody but, a billionaire to own. Autonomous public vehicles is what's going to be the future. So it's really the right way to go. Fixed track is just the same argument between buses and trolley cars. That would be my 2 cents to add.
This is Mike Davenport.
Go ahead.
Hello. I live right by Bayshore Drive. I've ridden it 3 times. The operators are very informative and informed. I was on it this past Saturday. It was a busy day. As people got off, they were sanitizing seats. And there's one stretch where they do have to take the Xbox control and actually drive it for about a block because of tree cover. But all in all, it's been an excellent experience, and I see it operating daily when I walk, and it seems to be popular, and your ridership numbers would support that. But I think it's been an awesome addition to the downtown waterfront, and people are becoming aware of it and using it. So I'd love to see it come back.
No, that's great, and thank you for writing. Oh, and I would love to and Gloria, I would love to get a link to your podcast. I'd love to listen in on that.
Oh, sure. What I can do is I can give that to Mary Ann, and then if anyone wants to listen to, I interviewed Raquel Asa from Beep, and she gave me a lot more information. I thought was just very interesting, and very much from the perspective of people with disabilities. How does that affect things?
Certainly tell us all the podcast name.
Oh, it's youraccessiblelife.com. You can actually just look that up, or I can send you a link on that. But yeah, any podcast platform, look for Your Accessible Life, and the most recent one is that interview.
Thank you. Again, I love the analogy of an elevator. If you think back to whatever year, 1910, people were afraid of elevators. They couldn't understand what was the point of an elevator. Elevator needed an operator, and now elevators are ubiquitous. The same thing is happening right now. Once a person gets in that autonomous vehicle, they start saying, hey, my mobile home park could use one of these. Hey, boy, I know a use for this. Boy, this is great. I'm going to tell my mother-in-law about this, that kind of stuff. That's what's happening. Any other comments for Jacob? If not, let me thank you for a great presentation and great news on that vehicle. And again, thanks, Gloria, for that interview that I got to hear. I encourage everyone to go listen to it. Your Accessible Life. Then let's go ahead and move on to our second item about the Bus on Shoulder project. Abhishek is here. Where are you? Are you here?
Right here.
All right, then let's hear about that. And I'll back out. Thanks.
Sure. Afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Abhishek Dayal. I am the Director of Project Management Office, and I'm also assisted by Cassia Harris, the Assistant Project Manager. Now, if any of you have recently driven down, actually, can you back up? Thank you. If any of you have recently driven down I-275 recently, you might have seen some signage with buses on shoulder some such signage all along 275. And that's part of a pilot project that we are working with FDOT on. And this particular item we're actually taking to the board this month. And as part of this item, we will be receiving $80,000 from FDOT to do public safety outreach on this project to make sure it's safe for motorists as well as our buses to operate in this new environment. And so to tell you more about this project, I'm going to hand it over to Kessia Harris, who is the lead for this project. So Kessia, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
So like Abhishek mentioned, I will tell you a little bit more about the Bus on Shoulder pilot project. Next slide, please. So if you're not familiar with Bus on Shoulder, it is a concept that allows the bus to drive or to ride on the shoulder of the freeway during congested periods. And that would allow the bus to maintain the agency's set schedule. It has been used in other parts of the country, such as Minneapolis and North Carolina. Next slide. So as Abhishek mentioned, FDOT has partnered with PSTA to bring this new concept, Bus on Shoulder, to Pinellas County. And they have decided to utilize the I-275 shoulder to have that done. And it will be used during heavy congestion on the shoulder. And this would also allow PSTA to maintain our set schedule. This would also increase the connectivity between St. Pete and Tampa. And we have decided to go ahead to use the Route 100X to apply to that. So as far as the bus operations, the bus can use the shoulder, or they may decide to use the shoulder anytime the traffic of the main line has reduced to 35 miles per hour, less than 35 miles per hour, and the bus has to go, it has a speed limit of up to 15 miles per hour on the shoulder. So for example, if the main line traffic has come to a complete halt at 0 miles per hour, the bus is allowed to drive on the shoulder for the most 15 miles per hour. And we have, we want to start this new concept or this new pilot sometime in June of 2021. Next slide. So as far as the project limits is concerned, we would like to utilize the Bus on Shoulder between 22nd Avenue North and Gandhi Boulevard, where 4 ramp meters will be placed. You will find them at 54th Avenue and 38th Avenue North and South. So a little bit more about how the signals work on the ramp. So the signals will help prevent traffic from entering the freeway anytime the bus gets near to, anytime the bus is on the shoulder and it's near to the on-ramp. And this would allow the bus to, the traffic to stop, and it would allow the bus to cross over. The signal from the bus, once it's emitted, will turn the light red, and it will stay red for a few seconds, allowing the bus to cross, and then the traffic on the ramp can continue over. Next slide. So FDOT realized that it's a new concept to Pinellas, so they have ensured that there is sufficient signage along the route, and you will find various signage along the route to alert motorists of the intended use. You will get it on the freeway as well as on the ramp. Next slide. So again, PSTA have decided we've gone out and we're going to do extensive classroom training as well as road training prior to the launch. And we have designed special wraps to alert motorists of the service. We also have indications on the back to alert motorists that only the bus is allowed on the shoulder. And we also have a state statute on there that lets people know that the bus is authorized to use the shoulder. So we do understand that this is a new concept to the motorists. That is why we have partnered with FDOT to do extensive public outreach, and public information will be set out to general motorists in terms of billboards with FDOT safety messaging along I-275. We also will be using dynamic messages with FDOT safety messages on there, and some other community messaging tools such as social media ad buys, drive time radio ads, PSTA website, pamphlet video, promotional videos, and literature. Right. So as Abhishek mentioned, this is an action item that will help approve the funds to assist with the public awareness for this pilot. And so hopefully that these funds will help with providing billboards, social media, and bus wraps, which is an agreement for the next 3 years with FDOT to not exceed $80,000. Thank you. And this is the basic bus on shoulder concept. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, boy, I'm very impressed with it. I've seen it in action in Raleigh on travel. I've not been to Minneapolis, although they've had the lights for years for traffic control. Is there any thought that it would be used for that or only for buses? The on-ramps?
Right now, it's only for the buses.
Okay. And anyone else have questions?
Is there any thought about expanding this beyond the stretch on 275 between Gandy and downtown? For example, would this ever come to the Route 300 going across the Howard Franklin parking lot, bridge?
That would sound nice, but right now it's just a pilot. So this is basically to see how it goes, and if it the public loves it, and if it's basically we'll get some feedback. And once we have feedback, positive feedback, then I'm sure FDOT would be willing to see where else they can place this bus on shoulder concept.
So just to help out a little bit, Mark, with that answer. Cassie is right that this is a pilot program and it is a partnership with the state DOT, and they're looking at all of their state roadways and the ability to use this pilot as a way to learn from us about how to do this in other places. With regard to the bridge itself, this would not be put on the existing bridge. The long-term plan is for that bridge to be replaced, and then eventually PSTA would operate in the HOV lane, right? So in that new bridge. So we would have, I think if your question is, will we get dedicated lanes like this or better reliability for the 300X? The answer is yes. It just may not be bus on shoulder.
I don't think there's really a shoulder on the Gandy right now, is there? It's awfully tight.
FDOT did do some widening, but there are some places that they have extended and some places that have remained as is.
Right. I understand in the other cities, to have a bus on shoulder, you really need, I don't know how else to say it, aggressive tow trucks, that if somebody breaks down and pulls off to the shoulder, someone's got to get him out of there straight away. Is that a good assessment or observation?
Yeah, I would say incident management is a big part of this
there you go.
project. So making sure that we are in constant communication with FDOT and Florida Highway Patrol. The good news is this as part of this project, we've been talking to all those entities too, and setting up a mechanism so that when these kind of incidents occur, our operators would get to know about it prior to getting there.
Yeah, I was thinking like a AAA SWAT team that would just be able to scramble a tow truck straight away. Especially if FDOT's trying to roll this out everywhere, I take it Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville, Pensacola, they'll figure this out, right? We're going to be the guinea pig for the whole state. Is that correct?
Pretty much.
Great.
I mean, a guinea pig is kind of a strong word, but I would say that we're helping them develop policies so that they can do this elsewhere.
Right.
We're tastefully leading the way.
There you are. Let me add that putting ads on those dynamic billboards is perfect. I'm not so, hot about running things on the PSTA. Folks that are driving, the folks that are going to be cutting off that bus or trying to tailgate that bus or not let the bus back in aren't on the PSTA website. They're the ones out in the car honking at the bus and cutting the bus off. So having it up on those boards that they see is going to be really the way to go. That's going to be the way to reach the ones that are going to be surprised and that and they're going to see those boards every day. So having a picture up there with a bus that says, hey, give way to the bus, don't follow the bus, that bus is supposed to be there. That picture on the back of the bus that says illegal to follow this bus on the shoulder, that's worth $1 million. That's a great idea, whoever came up with that. In my opinion, my humble opinion. Does anyone else have a comment or a question for them? Then you guys we would normally at this point vote to authorize it when we don't have a quorum because we're meeting in Zoom, but we certainly could give you consensus that that's a great idea and we'd love to have you proceed. Individually, I would like to say that you have my support. Would everyone like to chime in and just give them, I don't know, a big thumbs up? That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Formally.
Yeah, I think we can raise our hands and
hey, how about we give them a good job, attaboy, go for it or something.
Yeah.
Woo! Go for it. There you go.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Very good. And let's see how it goes. That 15 mile an hour is a perfect plan. The ads, all of that sounds great. So thank you, Abhishek. Thanks, Kessia, for the presentation.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. Then if we can move on, Bob, you've got something for us for TRAC Star, or the Star Award.
Yes, thank you, Duncan. I appreciate it. Thank everybody before me. Good presentations today. This is, excuse me, the allergies are getting to me this time of day. Every year we've had an initiative or several with the committee. And back in 2018, we started a Star Award. And I know we've done it, a lot of you have heard about it, but we have a lot of new members with us this year. Thank you all, by the way, for helping out. And we're going to do a little bit of refresher as we look through this. It's the Superior Transit Access Recognition, or what we call the Star Award. And the objective is to recognize groups of any kind, whether it's public, private, government, you name it, for things they do to help increase and make it easier to access transit, and for pedestrians, walkways too, going from transit as well, getting to places. And as we go through this, you'll see some of the award-winning projects that have gotten them in the past. This one was up at Oldsmar, and you can see they've put in a nice new enhanced walkway there as well. And it's throughout Pinellas County. The criteria are pretty simple. People can be nominated by any member of the community, by any member of the TRAC, any member, public, private. We've had government agencies nominate their divisions. I think the city of St. Petersburg nominated their division that headed up the MLK Safe Streets, and they won an award, and that was presented to the mayor too. Some of the examples include rider-friendly paths, new crosswalks to and from stops, access from stops to nearby establishments, and the inclusion of transit access and improved access in construction codes or designs. Nominations, once they're made, will be brought to the TRAC for reviews at regular meetings. What we'll do is we will scan them or send them by email, electronic copies out to all of you before the meeting so you can go through them, and then you bring them up at the meeting and they're discussed. We then will, once they're approved, notify the recipients about the honor, and then we arrange for a presentation for the plaque, and we usually ask the nominee to be there as well, and we try to do that in front of their city boards, or county commission. We've done all of it for Pinellas and others. And this is an example of the the award that will be on the plaque, and yes, it will say Duncan Kovar. This was, sorry that I didn't have a picture of one with Duncan's name on it, so I used Gloria's. I'm sure she won't mind. And this was her baby, by the way. I want to make sure I give her full credit.
No, it's all.
And it's a great PR for not just the agency, but for the TRAC and for our people as well. You can do this if you want to nominate people, or you want to tell someone else, hey, here's how you nominate. They can go on to psda.net. They have to find the TRAC page. So you go in the upper right, do a search, and it will give you an online nomination form, but it'll also, it has a link where you can just download a PDF and you can fill that in, email it, mail it, send it to us, and we'll get the ball rolling and get this moving along. I normally, at this time of year, we'll normally have more things going on as far as the initiatives, but thanks to the pandemic, this is the one that's safe and that we can all keep going. And I found it interesting listening to Gloria's report earlier. Sounds to me like the city of Clearwater may be in line for one of these for their Fort Harrison safe streets or complete streets, right?
I think we can take a look at with Fort Harrison, where there may be sections that would work for, yes.
But that's the type of thing we look for as you travel around the county. If you notice something, say, hey, look at that. That's nice. That helps us ride. That helps us get around. That's the type of group or project we'd like to recognize.
For the new members, let me say how this happened. What was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? We found that we were always complaining, this is horrible, that's bad, somebody did this. And you know the old story about you get for honey versus vinegar. We said, how about we go start looking for people that are doing things right and give them an award. And if you know the police term BOLO, be on the lookout for, let's be on the lookout for good things where there's been an extra curb that was cut, an extra signage, extra help. And it doesn't matter as long as it's in PSTA. We can't be patting ourselves on the back and break our arm. But we're giving them to cities, the county, a department, certainly a property developer, a business owner, anyone who's done anything to help make this, the community more accessible to both transit riders and to pedestrians. Because remember, pedestrians are transit riders are pedestrians just before and after they get on a bus. So however that process works, let's help them out. Let's give them an award. I think that so the new folks know where this came from. We retired about.
Oops, I think Duncan just went mute.
That's that. Any questions or comments? And does anyone have any ideas in the Gloria?
Well, I don't have an idea, but we can look at the thing from Clearwater. But what I wanted to add is that when you talked about the history of this, again, for the new people, this really came up from a couple of initiatives that we had where we said we want to be safer. And it was us not just approving things that we were being shown, but us saying to PSTA, we as riders have some very interesting perspectives. And PSTA said, absolutely, and helped us develop this. And in fact, the person who, I always give her credit, who really did the sugar rather than vinegar was Cassandra, who really kind of said, okay, guys, I know you like to scream, but let's find a way to make this work for you. So it's been a very, very good program. And I now hear people who were in city management saying, I never realized that this was needed.
Yeah, so again, to everyone, especially the new folks that may not be aware, be on the lookout for it, bring it back. If you can't find the form, Mary Ann, just text somebody, Bob, anybody, text me. We'll get you the form, get it going. Let's give praise, give credit where it's due. Get these folks a round of applause and a plaque to let them know. And we give them a big presentation and let them know it's great. Thank you, Bob. Any other questions or comments? Then with that, we're wrapping up. Matt, I see here, if I can take a shot, we have time for member comments. I hate to put you on the spot, but can you comment? I know I'm just asking to speculate about COVID and vaccines. Has the board or you, what's your crystal ball say, or what do we think, or is there planning yet, or is it soon? What's the industry? Something. Can you give us just a taste of what's going on? A little one.
Yes, Chair Cover, you were asking me to be the predictor of the future?
Well, no. Okay. Just what's going on at PSTA in terms of contingency plan. Is there anything scheduled? Is there anything?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, thank you.
I don't know what I'm. I can't wait. I can't wait for things to be normal again.
I know. Me too. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you, everyone who's on this TRAC committee. Thank you so much for hanging in there through this pandemic and being on Zooms. No matter where you are, you guys provide so many good information. I've been listening very carefully. You got great questions to all of our presentations today. This is exactly what we need is information. And I know the PSA board really values and was happy to have you back, Chair Govar, at the last meeting to hear your perspective, because it just really makes everything better. Now, funny you asked me about this, because one thing, and I will make sure Marianne sends it to all you when we get the next sign up, but a lot of great work by a lot of people at PSTA. PSTA has partnered with Community Health Centers of Pinellas. That's I'm not sure if that is like a nonprofit organization or an organization in Pinellas that has several locations up North County, Mid County, South County. And they have a couple of mobile vaccine vans. And they've been bringing it to PS the last 2 Mondays in a row. And already, and they're going to keep coming back with vaccines. And certainly, I want to invite all of the TRAC members, if you need a vaccine and qualify, come on over. And then, or if even if someone that you know that can value, come on over. I'm sending it out to all of our, to not only PSA employees, but also like our Jolly and the Looper folks and Care Ride and everybody that they can come if they need it. But it's been a fantastic thing. So far in the first 2 months that we've had the vaccine vans at PSTA, we've vaccinated 200, probably over 200 PSTA employees and even some of the family members. Now, you have to meet the same criteria that the governor of Florida mandates. So that had been, you had to be 60 or now it's 50 and over. You have to be either 50 years old, or you have to have a doctor's note, or you have to be, you could be a teacher, or if you're a teacher or a fire, first responder kind of person, I think those qualify also. But of course, for the PSTA employees, although some of us are teachers, I guess, if they are teaching people how to drive a bus, but no, if you're 50 years old or you have a doctor's note, and I can tell you that the community center people are pretty lax on that. I mean, yes, they turned away a bus driver who just a pill case. No, that didn't qualify. Somebody in just a prescription with their name on it and stuff, and they took that and they gave that a shot. So that's the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is a one kind of thing. So hey, if you want a vaccine, when you get the link from Marianne, sign up. It's usually, I think it's been about like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then all the sign up is really kind of giving you a time, so it's not too crowded right at the beginning. And then just come on over and you can get your vaccine. But that is the really great news for all of us at PSTA, because we all want to kind of get back. So that is the key really to kind of getting the service back running in full service. We don't have a total ball, but it looks like, we are getting a lot more people back in our community. That's great news. I think we will we're hoping to maybe restore the complete service. It's already pretty much back to normal, but a few more restorations and coming back maybe even as early as early June. And then I would think hopefully with vaccinations coming through, we would be back in the office sometime this summer, certainly, and maybe have the TRAC meet in person again. Probably we'll follow whatever the CDC guidelines are. We'll probably maybe have to wear our masks and everything, but maybe we can still get together starting in just a few short months. So we're doing okay at PSDA with all of our social distancing activities. We're still not collecting fares because everyone's getting on the bus and the back of the bus. Nationwide, on the first day of the new presidential administration, January 20th, President Biden issued a transportation-wide mask requirement, which covered airplane, all kinds of transportation, and it covered buses. And so everyone is required by now, federal law. If you ride PSDA, we've been requiring it for a long time, but now it's a federal requirement at our transit centers or on our vehicles. You have to have a mask, and that's worked out very well. Some people don't have masks. All of our drivers go out in the morning with some extra masks to give to customers to make sure they can wear a mask when they get on, and it's gone very well. We have a relatively lower number of cases overall since the beginning of this than many other transit systems have, but we all still have to keep vigilant through these last couple of months, even though we're getting people vaccinated. The Pinellas County Health Department does say that Pinellas is kind of a hot spot for these variants, these more infectious. Yeah. And so we just got to keep vigilant. But
all right, Brad. Well, thanks.
Hot in the future, yeah.
I appreciate the information, and really we're going to be looking to PSTA to tell us what the criteria when we hit certain percentages or certain indicators. I was wondering if there had been maybe a white paper or a subcommittee working on if we hit this or that milestone, or that's going to be coming probably. That was my question. That's great information to know that we're sending out partnering with community health.
Yeah.
Let me open it up to other folks. Anyone else have comments?
I have two questions.
Sebastian.
Yeah. My first question is, do we have any plans in the immediate future of restoring late night service to the beach trolley? I live a mile from the beach, so I know what's going on out there. There's a tremendous amount of snowbirds.
Yeah.
And so the bus service ends pretty early on the beach. My question is, are you planning on restoring late night service?
Well, that's a great question, Sebastian.
Brad on the spot. I'm sorry, Brad.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yes, the answer is yes. I think that'll probably be the thing that we do look to put back first. During spring break right now, which is peak season, Pinellas County is getting a lot of spring breakers coming, and our ridership is really growing on the beach, especially in the Clearwater area. So we're putting out extra buses. We limit the number of people on any bus to 15 max. So we have to put out extra trolleys. Us and the Jolly Trolley are putting out extra trolleys to keep people distanced. But yeah, late night is probably the very next thing we will do coming down, probably in early June.
In early June. Okay.
Yeah.
Second question I have for you, since I'm new, this may have come up before. Have you ever approached or been approached by the Tampa Bay Rays to provide bus specials from shopping centers for night games for a fee, like say of $10?
Well,
like a park and ride, you mean?
Yeah, because my understanding, I've never been to St. Louis, but I was told by someone that in St. Louis, that is a primary thing that they've got going on with the bus system, these bus specials from shopping centers.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
And is it profitable at $10? I have no idea what it costs to run a bus. Is it profitable at $10 a fee?
Well, if not, the Rays would partner, and it could have been the Bucks or it could be the Lightning, anybody, but
Yeah. Thank you, Sebastian. You know, those are great questions. Absolutely. It's something that I'm really passionate about. Yes, you're exactly right. St. Louis, Los Angeles, Baltimore, most of the Major League Baseball teams do have some kind of transit connection. I think it's the Phoenix Suns basketball team that over 50% of the ridership that goes to those basketball games rides on transit to the games, because if you have a ticket, you get to ride for free. Now, there's a couple the glitches with the Rays. One, there is a federal law prohibiting us from quote unquote providing charter bus, which means that like only Rays ticket holders can ride. All of our services by federal law have to be open to everybody. So that's one glitch. Second, there is a service like you described provided with the Looper trolleys that we help with that does go for Rays games at Tropicana Field. There is parking. There's a free trolley back and forth before and after the Rays games that goes to Tropicana Field from the parking garages in downtown St. Pete. And of course, you know, I personally, whenever I go to Rays games, I force my kids to do it with me. I ride the Central Avenue trolley back home, you know, from the Rays games. And there's always some Rays fans who are riding our services too, back and forth from downtown. Now you're talking about an idea that we've talked about a lot too with the Rays about, you know, further distance, like from the shopping centers or maybe even, you know, the beach over to Tropicana. Again, sort of the issue that we've had with that is this competing with the private companies that might want to do that. But hey, get ready for the Sunrunner rapid transit line, which will go right to Tropicana Field from the beach. I think that'll be a great partnership we can create with the Rays.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't see FDOT doing that.
Pardon me. I was going to you've got areas like Countryside. That's a long way to come by car and going home. And for example, running a bus from Countryside Mall for a fee makes sense to me if you know, that's the way I look at it.
Sure. But if we're prevented from doing that, I mean, SCOT is the big private version. They would certainly, if they could make a buck, they would do it in a minute. And if the Rays were going to, you know, co-fund it and all of that, I'm surprised they haven't done that. They must have done a market study on it. But that's a good question. Let's find out.
Thanks.
Are there other questions or comments? And it doesn't have to be about Brad. It can be to anyone or just to the air or to, you know, get something. Although I love grilling Brad. Then I have one last thing to say, and I don't know who to compliment. I've been up and down Central Avenue seeing the progress on the Sunrunner. Not to poke fun at the Preserve Our Lane people, but they gave up, about 9 parking spots between downtown and the beach, you know, where the little lane. But to see the lane shifts going in where the islands are going to be, right now they're just, what do you want to call it? Notional. They're just done with white lines, eventually the construction. And down on Pasadena, the raised curbs have gone in. Down in front of my favorite Dunkin' Donuts down here. It's got the raised curbs where the Sunrunner is going to go in. So it's nice to see progress being made. So hooray on our side.
Yeah, that's to Abhishek right there. He's to be credited for all that. Yeah.
Yes.
And the parking spaces that are being painted now are wider and nicer for the people that are parking. Yeah, so it's exactly.
So, are there any questions or any other business for this meeting? While we have everybody here, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and boy, thanks everyone who made presentations. That was a lot of good information. I'll remind everyone that you're invited to the MPO Forward Pinellas citizen meeting on Thursday. And if that's it, let me remind you that our next meeting is April 20th. Marianne will be setting out a an invite a couple days in advance, and we'll see everybody in a month. No other comments or questions? Then let's have the meeting adjourned. See you guys all in a month. Thanks for a great meeting, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.